Nepal's first house with electric lights. World's first electric light was lit by scientist Thomas Alva Edison on 5th September 1882 AD on Pearl Street in Lower Manhattan, New York. He founded the Thomas Illuminating Company to generate electricity. By the end of the first month, only 59 customers had turned on the electricity. 6 years later, an electric light was lit on in London, England. Although electricity was invented long before this, it was not easy to bring it into public life. Thomas Edison made it possible. After United States and United Kingdom started using electricity, India also attempted in 1897 AD, but the work was slowed down by earthquake and heavy rains. However, 2 years later, in 1899 AD, electricity was restored in Calcutta, India. 8 years later, Chandra Jyoti also started using electric light in Nepal. However, electricity was in use only in 1911 AD. Thus, after 29 years of electricity for the first time in the world, Nepal also started giving light with its own electricity. Nepal used to have electricity a year before the present economically prosperous China of Asia had. On 8 May 1908 AD, Rana Prime Minister Chandra Jyoti arrived in the UK. He returned home on 7 July 1908 AD after a 10-week trip to the UK. Impressed by the development and lifestyle of Europe, Rana Prime Minister of Nepal, Chandra Jyoti, wanted to start a wave of development in Nepal as well. When Rana Prime Minister Chandra Jyoti returned to Nepal, he tried to learn a lot from what he had seen in Britain. He opened army hospitals, tuberculosis hospitals, clinics, colleges, train station, the ropeway, and more importantly, he successfully completed hydroelectric power plant in Asia. Attempts were made in India at the time of Nepal to turn on the electric light, but it was not very successful. However, Nepal's power generation was completely successful. Chandra Jyoti named the project as Chandra Jyoti. The goal of the project was to generate 500 kilowatts of electricity. The buildings were designed by Kishore Narsim Rana and Kumar Narsim Rana, the first engineers of Nepal for farping hydropower. The pond was constructed by collecting waters from 3 places, including Kulti Khola, Satmule, and Sesnarayan. This water was taken to the powerhouse and electricity was generated from the turbine. However, the workers were not paid for this work, which took 200 months and 15 days, and all were forced to work by the Rana government. The Rana officers had forced the people of Kokana to go for and work there every day. They were accompanied by soldiers and prisoners. Thus, 950 workers had to work hard. After the building and the pond were ready, the British engineers came. It is understood that the cost of this project, which took about 4 years to build, was 7,13,273 rupees and 82 paisa at that time. This powerhouse is the first in South Asia and the second in Asia. The technology used in powerhouse was brought from the UK and France to generate 500 kilowatts of electricity. After the completion of the hydropower project on 22nd May 1911 AD, and the then King Prithvi Bir Bikram Saha inaugurated the Chandra Jyoti by lighting a lamp at Turikal at 6 p.m. Earlier, a house in Kokana was tested with the electricity. A lamp was lit at the house of local Sidilal Dangol for testing. During the Rana period, conservative thinking prevailed. There were misconceptions about the bulb and electricity. The biggest fear at that time was to die due to electric shock. Thinking that using the technology that was not available in the country at once would be detrimental to the Rana rule, the Rana decided to test in the home of a people first. So for some time, the bulb was lit in Kokana. They decided that if nothing happens there, only the palaces of the Rana in the valley would be lit. Sidilal Dangol worked for the Rana, and the only way to farping at that time was Sidilal Dangol's house in Kokana. That is why the Rana decided to light electricity in Sidilal Dangol's house. Siddhilal Dongul was also worried for the harm. That is why Siddhilal Dongul has arranged to light electricity outside the main door and not inside his house. The shape of a lion's head was made outside the house. An electric light was added to that lion's head. As there was no switch to turn off the light directly, which was connected directly to the wiring, due to which the light was on for 3 consecutive years. The first electric house in Nepal is in Kokana. There is a signboard on the door of this house. The signboard reads, "Welcome to Kokana Museum. This is the first house with electric light provided in Nepal." The bulb is attached to the shape of a lion's head made just below the 3-faced window. This bulb gave the feeling of lights to Nepal for the first time. Thank you.